Your skin does its most significant repair work between 10 at night and 2 in the morning. Cellular turnover accelerates, collagen synthesis increases. The barrier recovery mechanism that spends the day managing UV exposure, pollution, and environmental stress shifts into restoration mode. This is not marketing language. It is documented circadian biology, published in the Journal of Investigative Dermatology. The night is when your skin is most receptive to ingredients that support repair and most vulnerable to ingredients that interfere with it. The anti-aging night cream category was built on that biology. The promise is precise: while you sleep, the formula works. Peptides rebuild, retinoids resurface, ceramides restore the barrier. You wake up with skin that has moved measurably toward where it was 5 years ago. That is the promise on the front of every jar from every brand at every price point, or from $19 at the drugstore to $350 at the Neiman Marcus beauty counter. Here's what the front of the jar does not tell you. Several of the most widely sold anti-aging night creams contain ingredient systems that, applied nightly to skin in its most permeable and repair-ready state, disrupt the barrier, generate oxidative stress, trigger low-grade inflammation, and accelerate the collagen degradation they were sold to reverse. Not as a theoretical risk, as a documented dermatological mechanism. The same window of biological vulnerability that makes your skin receptive to repair ingredients makes it more susceptible to irritant damage than at any other point in the 24-hour cycle. We pulled the peer-reviewed literature on barrier disruption and collagen degradation. We read the FDA's drug claim enforcement letters sent to cosmetic brands making anti-aging claims that exceed what a cosmetic is legally permitted to promise. We cross-referenced every INCI list on this list against the specific ingredient classes that dermatological researchers have identified as barrier compromising in leave-on nocturnal formulas. What we found is that 7 brands on the shelves of every department store, drugstore, and Sephora in America, are applying the wrong chemistry to the most vulnerable window in your skin's daily cycle, and 3 brands got it right. Today, we are ranking 10 anti-aging night creams, 7 whose formulas contain ingredient systems that dermatological research links to the acceleration of the damage, and 3 that a formulator's ingredient test actually clears. Number 5 on the villain list charges $180 and puts retinol palmitate on the front of the jar. Retinol palmitate is not retinol. It is not retinoic acid. It is a weaker ester that requires multiple enzymatic conversions to become the molecule that actually does anything to a wrinkle. And research published in a government toxicology report found that under UV exposure, it may generate free radicals. You are applying it at night in the dark, so that problem is solved, except the formula also contains fragrance. And fragrance on a compromised nocturnal barrier is its own category of damage. Number 1 on the villain list is a brand whose founding story is built entirely on the promise of knowing exactly what goes into the formula. Their night cream contains fragrance, alcohol, and a preservative system that a board-certified dermatologist would not apply to sensitized skin. By the end of this video, you will know which 3 ingredient classes to search on any night cream label, why the FDA has sent enforcement letters to several brands making the claims on this villain list, and what 3 formulas actually deliver repair chemistry at the concentrations required to do measurable work overnight. Villain number 7, Olay Regenerist Micro Sculpting Cream Night. Pick up Olay Regenerist Micro Sculpting Cream Night at any drugstore or mass retailer. $20 to $24. The Regenerist line is Olay's scientific flagship, the product range built on the aminopeptide complex that Olay has spent 2 decades marketing as their proprietary anti-aging technology. The night version implies that the peptide system has been optimized for nocturnal skin biology. The jar is satisfyingly heavy, the texture is rich. For $22, the Regenerist promise feels like exceptional value. Then you flip the jar over. Fragrance sits in the middle of the INCI list, a single word covering an undisclosed compound blend in a leave-on product applied to skin at its most permeable. Fragrance is the leading cause of cosmetic-related contact dermatitis, according to the American Contact Dermatitis Society. In a rinse-off product, the exposure window is minutes. In a night cream applied at 10 at night and left on until morning, the exposure window is 8 hours. The barrier disruption from fragrance sensitization in a leave-on nocturnal formula is not theoretical. It is documented in published patch test and irritancy literature. Olay is owned by Procter & Gamble, a company that appears across every investigation this channel has conducted. The aminopeptide complex in Regeneris is real. The fragrance in the night formula undermines the barrier that peptides are trying to support. Those two facts share the same jar. P&G formulated both of them into it. Villain No. 6, Neutrogena Rapid Wrinkle Repair Regenerating Cream. Pick up Neutrogena Rapid Wrinkle Repair Regenerating Cream at any pharmacy. $20 to $26. Rapid is doing the same work on the night cream shelf that it does on the vitamin C shelf, implying speed, clinical action, measurable change in a defined time frame. The active is retinol. Retinol is a legitimate, peer-reviewed anti-aging ingredient. At the right concentration in the right formula, retinol accelerates cellular turnover, reduces the appearance of fine lines, and stimulates collagen production over time. Neutrogena's use of retinol is not the crime. The crime is what they put around it. The formula contains alcohol denat, denatured alcohol, as a mid-list ingredient. Alcohol denat in a leave-on night cream disrupts the lipid layer of the skin barrier, increases transepidermal water loss, and reduces the barrier's capacity to retain the moisture required for the repair cycle that happens while you sleep. A night cream whose job is barrier restoration contains an ingredient that measurably compromises the barrier. The retinol is working against an ingredient in its own formula. The formula also contains fragrance. Retinol increases skin sensitivity and barrier permeability as part of its mechanism of action. That is why the first weeks of retinol use involve sensitivity and purging. Applying fragrance to retinol-sensitized skin through the same product is the formulation equivalent of opening a wound and applying a known allergen. Neutrogena is owned by Kenvue, the Johnson & Johnson spinoff valued at $41 billion at IPO. Their formulation team knows what alcohol denat does to barrier integrity. The ingredient is in the formula because it provides the lightweight skin feel that consumer testing rewards. Villain No. 5, Estee Lauder Advanced Night Repair Synchronized Multi-Recovery Complex. Pick up Estee Lauder Advanced Night Repair at any department store counter. $180 for 50 milliliters. Advanced Night Repair is one of the most recognizable serums in the prestige skincare category. The brown bottle, the gold cap, the synchronized multi-recovery language. That implies a formula working in concert with your skin's biological cycle. It is the aspirational purchase, the birthday gift, the product millions of women save up for and then protect from running out. Then you read the NC list. Retinol palmitate is in the formula, not retinol, not retinoic acid. Retinol palmitate, a retinoid ester that requires conversion to retinol and then further conversion to retinoic acid before it reaches the biologically active form that does anything measurable to a wrinkle. The conversion efficiency in human skin is limited and varies significantly across individuals. The clinical evidence for retinol palmitate in night creams as an anti-aging active is substantially weaker than the clinical evidence for retinol at a disclosed concentration. There is a second problem. A 2011 National Toxicology Program study, funded by the federal government, not a plaintiff's attorney, found that retinol palmitate, when exposed to UV light, accelerated the development of tumors in UV-exposed mouse skin compared to a control. Advanced Night Repair is a night formula. UV is not the exposure mechanism at night, but the formula contains fragrance, and fragrance-induced barrier disruption increases the permeability of every ingredient in the formula, including retinol palmitate, through the barrier and into the viable epidermis, where its behavior under any oxidative stress condition is less predictable than the brand's marketing implies. $180, a retinoid ester with weak conversion efficiency, a government toxicology flag, fragrance in a leave-on nocturnal formula. Estee Lauder is owned by the Estee Lauder Companies, a $32 billion beauty conglomerate. They have the research infrastructure to know precisely what retinol palmitate is and what it is not. They chose it because it is more stable in the formula than retinol, which means a longer shelf life, which means lower production cost at scale. The efficacy trade-off was made for the supply chain, not for your skin. Villain No. 4, L'Oréal Paris Revitalift Triple Power Anti-Aging Night Cream. Pick up L'Oreal Revitalift Triple Power Anti-Aging Night Cream at any mass retailer, $28 to $32, triple power. 3 separate anti-aging mechanisms working simultaneously. The label implies a formula with the sophistication of a multi-step routine compressed into one jar. The actives are pro-retinol, vitamin C, and hyaluronic acid. Each of those 3 ingredients has legitimate anti-aging science behind it. The combination promise is the marketing architecture. Then you read the INSI list. Pro-retinol is retinol propionate, another retinoid ester derivative, not retinol, not retinoic acid, requiring the same enzymatic conversion process as retinol palmitate with similarly limited and variable efficiency. The vitamin C derivative is ascorbyl glucoside, not L-ascorbic acid, a less efficient precursor that this channel has covered extensively in the vitamin C investigation. The hyaluronic acid is present, but its molecular weight is undisclosed, which determines whether it sits on the surface of the skin or penetrates to the dermis, where hydration matters for barrier function. 3 active claims. 3 versions of those actives that are less effective than the clinical gold standards the names imply. The formula also contains fragrance and DMDM-hydantoin, the formaldehyde-releasing preservative that appears in Torreseme, OGX, and Pantene on the shampoo villain list. DMDM-hydantoin in a leave-on night cream applied to periocular and perioral skin. The thinnest, most permeable skin on the face for 8 hours nightly is a materially different exposure profile than the same preservative in a rinse-off shampoo. L'Oreal is the world's largest beauty company, worth $43 billion in annual revenue. DMDM-hydantoin is one of the cheapest effective preservatives in cosmetic formulation. The choice was economic. If you have already reached for the night cream on your nightstand, hit subscribe because the next 3 brands are going to make everything we have covered so far look like the opening argument. Drop a 3 in the comments if you are still with us. Villain number 3, Clinique Smart Night Custom Repair Moisturizer. Pick up Clinique Smart Night Custom Repair Moisturizer at any department store, $55 to $70 depending on formulation. Clinique built its entire identity on one claim that no other major beauty brand made in 1968, and that most still cannot match: allergy tested, fragrance free, dermatologist developed. The 3-step Clinique system, cleanser, toner, moisturizer, was the first mass prestige skincare routine built around dermatological safety rather than luxury aspiration. That founding claim is not marketing, it was genuinely differentiated for its era. Then you read the INSI list of Smart Night Custom Repair. Alcohol denatured alcohol appears as a prominent early list ingredient in the formula designed for nighttime repair. The same denatured alcohol that compromises barrier lipids, increases transepidermal water loss, and creates the sensitized, moisture-depleted skin environment that is the opposite condition to what a repair night cream is meant to generate. Clinique is owned by the Estée Lauder companies, the same parent as number 5 on this list. A dermatologist-developed brand that put denatured alcohol in its flagship night repair formula because consumer testing found that the alcohol-induced skin-tightening sensation tested as a skin-smoothing efficacy signal. The sensation is not efficacy, it is barrier disruption presenting as tightness. The dermatologist who developed the Clinique protocol in 1968 would find denatured alcohol in a night cream a specific kind of embarrassing. The Estée Lauder companies found it a specific kind of profitable. Villain number 2, Philosophy Hope in a Jar Original Formula Moisturizer. Pick up Philosophy Hope in a jar at Sephora or any department store. $44 to $50. The name is doing something unusual in the skincare category. It is honest about the aspiration. Hope, not repair, not reversal, not regeneration. Hope. It is one of the more epistemically honest product names in anti-aging skincare, which makes the formula underneath it a particular kind of irony. The INSI list contains fragrance, a synthetic preservative system including phenoxyethanol at a mid-list concentration, and niacinamide, a legitimate brightening and barrier-supporting ingredient, at a position in the NCI order that suggests a concentration too low to deliver the clinical efficacy that the research on niacinamide requires. Published studies establishing niacinamide's barrier repair and hyperpigmentation effects typically use concentrations between 2 and 5%. INSEE order alone cannot confirm concentration, but niacinamide positioned below the fragrance component in a night cream formula is a flag that the concentration is decorative rather than functional. Philosophy is owned by Coty, a beauty conglomerate with $24 billion in debt as of 2023, operating under a private equity-influenced cost structure that has driven systematic formula cost reduction across its portfolio brands since the 2016 leveraged acquisition. The niacinamide is on the label. The concentration required for it to do anything is not. Villain number 1, Tatcha the Water Cream. Pick up Tatcha the Water Cream at Sephora, $68 for 50 milliliters. Tatcha is the brand built on a founding story. Japanese geisha skincare rituals, Hadase 3, a proprietary blend of green tea, rice, and algae, derived from a centuries-old Japanese beauty tradition. The brand sells cultural authority alongside the formula. The water cream is Tatcha's best-selling product. It has a texture that genuinely justifies the experience. Weightless, burst-on-contact hydration, immediate luminosity. The sensory experience is real. Then you read the INSEE list. Alcohol denat appears as the third ingredient. Third, meaning it is present at a higher concentration than most of the actives the brand markets. A product whose primary experience is hydration contains denatured alcohol as its third highest concentration ingredient. Alcohol denat achieves the weightless water burst texture that consumer testing rewards. It also strips the lipid layer of the barrier. The sensation of weightlessness is the sensation of your barrier being compromised. The formula also contains fragrance. Tatcha's Hadase 3 botanical complex, green tea, rice bran, algae is present in the formula. Their NCI position suggests concentrations consistent with the decorative rather than active range of those ingredients. The cultural story is genuine, the dermatological delivery is not. Tatcha was acquired by Unilever in 2019 for approximately $500 million. Unilever paid $500 million for a brand whose value was entirely its founding story, its aesthetic, and its consumer trust. The denatured alcohol was in the formula before the acquisition. Unilever's ownership has not changed it. They bought the story. The story is still on the jar. The alcohol denat is still the third ingredient. The pattern in this list runs through two parent companies in a way that requires naming directly. The Estee Lauder Companies owns both Estee Lauder Advanced Night Repair at number 5 and Clinique Smart Night at number 3. A $32 billion conglomerate owns the aspirational prestige purchase and the dermatologist-developed allergy-tested alternative and put barrier-disrupting ingredients in both of them. The consumer who distrusts the Estee Lauder counter and switches to Clinique for the dermatological credibility is still inside the same portfolio making the same formulation trade-offs. L'Oreal at number 4 and Unilever at number 1 hold a combined market position that covers every price tier from mass retail to prestige Sephora. The retinoid ester substitution story and the alcohol denat story are not isolated brand decisions. They are category-wide strategies for managing formula cost at scale while maintaining the premium perception that justifies the price point. And the FDA is not absent from this conversation. The agency has issued warning letters to cosmetic brands making anti-aging claims that cross the legal line from cosmetic, a product that affects appearance, into drug territory, a product that affects the structure or function of skin. Claims like repairs the skin barrier, reverses cellular aging, and stimulates collagen synthesis are drug claims on a cosmetic label. The brands on this list have made those claims. The enforcement letters are in the public record. The products are still on the shelf because the FDA's cosmetic enforcement resources are limited and the warning letter process is slow. The claim on the front of the jar is not a regulatory finding. It is a marketing decision that the brand made and the FDA has not yet reached. The point was never to tell you that anti-aging skincare does not work. Some of it works. The dermatological science on retinoids is real. The evidence on ceramide-based barrier repair is real. The collagen synthesis research on specific peptide classes is real. The point is to show you which brands substituted cheaper, less effective, or barrier-disrupting versions of those ingredients and applied them to the skin during the biological window when your barrier is most open and most vulnerable. Before the hero list, here is what a formulator's ingredient test requires for a night cream to pass. No alcohol denat in a leave-on nocturnal formula. No fragrance, the leading cause of cosmetic contact dermatitis, in a product applied to compromised barrier skin for 8 hours. No retinoid ester substitution without disclosed concentration, and conversion rationale. Retinol at a disclosed percentage or nothing claiming retinoid efficacy. And ceramides, peptides, or barrier repair actives at positions in the NCI order consistent with functional concentrations. 3 bars, 3 brands cleared them. Hero number 3, CeraVe Skin Renewing Night Cream. Pick up CeraVe Skin Renewing Night Cream at any drugstore or mass retailer. $19 for 48 grams. CeraVe was developed in collaboration with dermatologists specifically around the ceramide barrier repair mechanism. The Skin Renewing Night Cream contains 3 essential ceramides: ceramide NP, ceramide AP, ceramide EOP, at positions in the NCI list consistent with functional concentrations. It contains niacinamide at a mid-list position consistent with the 2 to 5% range required for published efficacy. It contains peptides in the active tier. No alcohol denat, no fragrance, no retinoid ester substitution. The patented MVE delivery technology, a multi-lamellar emulsion system that releases actives slowly over time, is the one piece of formulation intellectual property in the CeraVe line with independent third-party validation. Published research not funded by CeraVe has confirmed the extended release delivery mechanism. That is a rare finding in mass-market skincare. The honest limitation, CeraVe is owned by L'Oreal, the same L'Oreal at number 4 on the villain list. The formula has not changed since the acquisition in 2017, and the ceramide science is intact. This channel flags acquisition histories consistently because they matter. This one has held so far. $19, the lowest price on either list, the strongest barrier repair evidence in the drugstore category. The science is not proportional to the price. Hero number 2, Paula's Choice Clinical 1% Retinol Treatment. Paula's Choice publishes every active ingredient at its disclosed concentration. The clinical 1% retinol treatment contains retinol, not retinol palmitate, not retinol propionate, not proretinol, at 1%. 1% is at the upper end of the over-the-counter retinol efficacy range, validated in published clinical research. The concentration is on the label. The specific form of the retinoid is on the label. The formula is fragrance-free and alcohol-free. The retinol is stabilized with vitamin C, L-ascorbic acid at a disclosed supporting concentration, and vitamin E, which together form the antioxidant system that protects L-ascorbic acid and retinol from oxidative degradation in the formula. That is a rare finding in mass-market skincare. Cosmetic chemists reference the Paula's Choice retinol formulation as the benchmark for over-the-counter retinoid transparency. The honest limitation, 1% retinol is the strongest concentration available without a prescription. For skin that has never used retinol, starting at 1% will produce sensitivity, redness, and peeling in the first 2 to 4 weeks. This is not the product to use on unprepared skin. The adjustment period is real, and the brand documents it plainly. $62 for 30 milliliters. The concentration is disclosed. The form is specific. Every dollar between this and the villain list's most expensive entry is the price of honesty. Hero number 1, the Ordinary Buffet plus Copper Peptides 1%. The Ordinary Buffet plus Copper Peptides 1% is the most documented peptide night serum in the accessible price tier. The formula discloses not just the peptide classes present, but the concentration of copper peptide complex, 1%, which falls within the range used in the published wound healing and collagen synthesis research on copper peptides. Copper peptides have a longer published research record than most peptide complexes in anti-aging skincare. The clinical evidence goes back to wound healing research from the 1970s and has been extended into cosmetic application through peer-reviewed dermatology journals. No fragrance, no alcohol denat, no retinoid ester substitution. The preservative system is phenoxyethanol at a disclosed supporting concentration. The full formula rationale, why each ingredient was chosen, what mechanism it is intended to support, what concentration it operates at, is published on the Ordinary's website in language accessible to a consumer without a chemistry background. That transparency is not a product feature. It is what the entire category should require, and almost none of it does. The honest limitation: copper peptides and retinoids should not be used simultaneously on the same skin in the same routine. Copper can deactivate retinol. If you are using the Paula's Choice retinol at number 2 on the hero list, alternate nights between the two rather than layering them. The Ordinary documents this incompatibility. Every brand on the villain list that combines actives without compatibility disclosure is leaving that conversation for the consumer to have alone. $14.90 for 30 milliliters, the most documented peptide formula in the accessible price tier. The brand on the hero list that costs the least and discloses the most is the one that sits below $15 at the drugstore. That is not an accident. It is a formulation philosophy that decided disclosure was more valuable than mystique and priced accordingly. 3 ingredients. Search them on any night cream label before it goes on your face at 10 at night. 1. Alcohol denat. If it appears in the first 5 ingredients on the INSI list, the formula contains denatured alcohol at a concentration high enough to compromise your barrier lipid layer. In a rinse-off product, the exposure is brief. In a night cream, you are sleeping in it. Barrier disruption from alcohol denat increases transepidermal water loss, reduces the skin's capacity to retain the hydration the rest of the formula is trying to deliver, and creates the sensitized, permeable skin state that accelerates the collagen breakdown the product promised to reverse. If alcohol denat is in the top 5, put it back. 2. Fragrance. In a leave-on nocturnal formula, fragrance is not a minor irritant concern. It is the leading cause of cosmetic contact dermatitis applied to skin that is at its most permeable and most repair-active biological state. The fragrance trade secret exemption means you cannot know what is in the blend. The dermatological research means you do not need to. If fragrance appears on the INSI list of a night cream, the brand made a choice to prioritize the sensory experience of opening the jar over the dermatological safety of leaving it on your face for 8 hours. 3. Retinol palmitate or retinol propionate as the retinoid claim. Both are retinoid esters that require enzymatic conversion to reach the biologically active form. Both are present at concentrations that brands do not disclose. Both are less clinically validated than retinol at a disclosed percentage. If the brand's anti-aging claim rests on either of these, and especially if the front of the jar says retinol when the NCI list says retinol palmitate, the brand is using a clinical vocabulary it has not earned. The night cream category generates over $4 billion annually in the US market. The brands on the villain list are selling the window of biological opportunity your skin opens every night, and filling it with fragrance systems, barrier-disrupting alcohols, and retinoid ester substitutions that cost less to manufacture and perform less for your skin than the label implies. The biological window is real. The repair chemistry they are delivering into it is not. You know what goes on your face at night now. Drop the night cream you are currently using in the comments and we will tell you exactly where it sits. Subscribe, because the next investigation pulls back the curtain on the fragrance trade secret that every brand on the villain list is hiding, and the regulatory loophole written in 1938 that lets them keep hiding it.